Hello everyone, it's Hiro. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to share some practical tips on how to grow Medaka quickly and efficiently. This is a question I get very often, especially from beginners and from viewers living outside Japan. Many people tell me my Medaka fry are alive, but they grow very slowly, or I don't know if I'm feeding them correctly. If you are ever felt that way, this video is for you. Medaka are very hardy fish, but their growth speed can change a lot depending on how you feed them and the container you use, and the environment you keep them in. Small changes can make a big difference. All the tips I'll share today are based on my own experience raising Medaka over many generations. You don't need special equipment to get started, just a better understanding of a few key points. So whether you are beginners or already keeping Medaka, I hope this video helps you raising healthier, stronger fish. On this channel, I talk about Japanese aquarium culture, mainly focusing on Medaka and other fish from Japan. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe. So let's dive right in. First, let's talk about feeding, because this is one of the most important factors for fast growth. During the very early fry stage, many breeders in Japan start with live food such as paramecium. Paramecium is very small, easy to fry to eat, and perfect for their first food. I usually feed paramecium for about the first 2 weeks. After that stage, many people in Japan switch to daphnia. Daphnia is excellent for growth, and Medaka fry rarely love it. However, daphnia can be quite different to keep and maintain long term. As an alternative, brine shrimp is also a great option. In terms of size, brine shrimp sits right between paramecium and daphnia. So my recommendation is to raise the fry on paramecium for about 2 weeks and then start feeding brine shrimp. Recently, I personally use brine shrimp more often because it's much easier to hatch compared to keeping a stable daphnia culture. That said, brine shrimp does have one downside in Japan. It's quite expensive. Honestly, I'm a bit jealous of people overseas who can buy brine shrimp much more cheaply. No matter which live food you choose, the key point is to feed small amounts multiple times a day. This helps improve growth while keeping the water clean. You can also combine live food with powdered fry food. For example, I feed paramecium in the morning and evening, and if I have time during the day, I added powdered food. Occasionally, I give a daphnia or brine shrimp as a treat, but if you can provide live food daily, even better. Next, let's talk about containers, because choosing the right one is extremely important when raising Medaka fry. In general, the larger the water volume, the more stable the water quality becomes. However, large containers also take up a lot of space, and because of that, I often start raising my fry in smaller containers around 10 liters. As the fry grow, I move them to a larger container, usually around 40 liters. Of course, if you have enough space, you can raise them in a large container from the beginning. But there is one important thing to be careful about. When fry are raising together, size differences appear very quickly. If you don't separate the faster growing fry, the larger ones may start picking at the smaller ones, and you can suddenly lose a lot of fry. So even if you use a large container, it's important to observe their growth closely and move larger fry to a separate container when needed. Another key point is surface area. Containers with a wide surface provide better oxygen exchange, so deep water is not necessary. Shallow containers with a large surface area work much better for Medaka. For albino Medaka, There is one extra thing to consider. Because their eyesight is weaker, they can have difficulty finding food in large containers with a low density. In those cases, I sometimes use smaller containers to make sure they can find food more easily and grow properly. I've also uploaded another video that explains the relationship between water volume, surface area, and stocking density in more detail, so please check that one if you are interested. Maintaining the large environment is key to fast growth. Higher water temperatures promote quicker growth, ideally between 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. However, keep in mind that higher temperatures can also lead to faster water pollution, so because the wet regular water changes. Clean water is also crucial for fast growth, though Medaka are fairly resilient to poor water conditions. Still, for long-finned varieties, be extra careful as they are more susceptible to diseases in dirty water. Now let's talk about professional techniques. Professional breeders use very controlled environments to maximize both growth speed and breeding frequency. By using heaters and artificial lighting, they can keep Medaka breeding all year round. In fact, some professional breeders in Japan can raise up to 6 generations of Medaka in a single year. For example, a well-known breeder called Joraku-an is famous for achieving this level of production. That said, it's important to understand the key point. Faster growth always comes with a trade-off. The more you feed Medaka to speed up their growth, the faster the water quality deteriorates. In other words, feeding volume and water quality are always in a trade-off relationship. Professional breeders manage this balance very carefully. They increase feeding to promote rapid growth, but at the same time, they control water quality through frequent water changes and strict observation. Even without professional level equipment, you can still raise Medaka to adulthood in about 3 months by following basic principles and paying attention to this balance. Trying to push growth too fast without managing water quality often leads to disease and losses. So instead of aiming for maximum speed, focus on finding the right balance for your own setup. So how was it? To grow Medaka quickly and healthy, the key points are proper feeding, choosing the right container, maintaining a good environment, and understanding how professional techniques work. You don't need to apply everything at once. What's most important is feeding the right balance that fits your own setup and your available space. I hope the tips I shared today were helpful and give you more confidence in raising Medaka. If even a year from this video helps your fish grow better, I'll be very happy. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please give it a like. And if you have any questions or want to share your own experience, feel free to leave a comment. I love to read them. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy fish keeping!